after the party was over, we got home. I said, all right, Mariah, let's call your dad so you can go hang out with him, you know. Called. Let me let you listen to it. Now listen to this.
Yes, sir. So you're not gonna get a knee today?
No, I'm gonna get my best for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not getting her today?
I'm gonna get her on Monday, Melody.
Now, you hear me laugh? Because it's funny to me. You stood out here in this party for 30 minutes talking about, I should be able to have her on her birthday.
He acts like, no, it's Mel, like, no.
It's the reason I move like I move. Martell's very manipulative. I wish I had have had my children by a man, not a queen, but a man.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. You guys, the love and marriage Huntsville world has been absolutely rocked. Melody Shari has reportedly dropped a bombshell by leaking tapes that supposedly expose Carlos King. I'm literally shaking right now because these recordings could finally confirm what fans have been whispering about for years regarding what really happens behind those reality TV curtains. The internet is absolutely exploding with speculation about what's on these tapes. Some insiders claim they contain smoking gun evidence of Carlos manipulating cast members and creating fake drama just to boost those precious ratings. Others are hinting at something even more scandalous, that these recordings might reveal deeply personal secrets that Carlos has been desperate to keep hidden from the public. Either way, if these leaks turn out to be authentic, Carlos King's entire career could come crashing down around him. I'm dying to know, what really pushed Melody to release these tapes now? And what explosive revelations do they contain about Carlos King's true role in love and marriage Huntsville? To fully grasp this jaw-dropping situation, we need to go back to the beginning, because believe it or not, Melody and Carlos were once completely aligned.
It just reminded me that you can't focus on the noise of the outside world. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. A lot of people focus on the noise, and a lot of people enter the dark space of the noise to benefit them. And when you are a person who lives your life.
Let me tell you something about Carlos King. He isn't just your average TV producer. He's earned his King of Reality TV crown for a reason. This man has been the mastermind behind some of the most addictive reality shows ever, from the Real Housewives franchise to BET Presents The Encore. But Love and Marriage Huntsville? That was different. This wasn't just another paycheck for Carlos. This was his creation, his baby, and it was deeply personal. Melody Shari was arguably the biggest reason the show became such a massive hit. Strong-willed, outspoken, and refusing to back down from anyone, she instantly became the fan favorite that viewers couldn't get enough of. She didn't just bring petty drama, she brought real, raw life struggles, especially during her absolutely messy and painfully public divorce from Martell Holt. In the beginning, Carlos and Melody seemed like a match made in reality TV heaven. Melody delivered the authentic emotional moments, and Carlos knew exactly how to package them into utterly addictive television that had us all glued to our screens. But as time went on, eagle-eyed fans started noticing something strange in their dynamic. Something felt off. Melody's portrayal on the show began shifting dramatically. Instead of being showcased as the powerful businesswoman and devoted mother we all fell in love with, suddenly she was being positioned squarely in the center of every dramatic moment, often looking like the instigator of all the problems. Meanwhile, certain other cast members were mysteriously getting much more favorable edits. That's when the real tension exploded. Rumors started circulating that Carlos was manipulating storylines behind the scenes. Now, we all know producers guide narratives in reality TV. That's nothing new, but Melody reportedly felt the show was deliberately portraying her in an increasingly negative light, while other cast members were being protected and given much softer, kinder edits, while Melody took all the heat. And it wasn't just about her unflattering portrayal. Some inside sources claim Melody began noticing signs that Carlos was actively engineering conflicts, deliberately setting up scenarios designed to create maximum tension, and even encouraging cast members to turn against each other, all in the name of keeping those ratings through the roof. That's when things got seriously messy. Melody wasn't about to sit quietly and take it. She started dropping not-so-subtle hints on social media, in interviews, and even on the show itself that things weren't nearly as real as they seemed. blamed. She openly discussed feeling unfairly treated, accused production of playing favorites, and suggested certain people cared more about manufacturing drama than showing the truth. But instead of just walking away from the show, Melody did something absolutely shocking that nobody saw coming. She started collecting receipts, and that's when things got really interesting. Then came the absolute bombshell: Melody had recordings, and if what people are saying is true, these tapes could change everything about how we view the show. So what's actually on these explosive recordings? That's the million-dollar question that has everyone talking. According to extremely reliable sources, these recordings allegedly contain private conversations between Melody and Carlos, conversations that were never supposed to see the light of day. The speculation about what they reveal is absolutely wild. Some believe the tapes contain undeniable proof that Carlos deliberately manipulated cast members into messy situations, setting them up for those explosive confrontations we can't stop watching. Others think there's actual audio of Carlos admitting to orchestrating completely fake drama, finally proving what many have suspected, that Love and Marriage Huntsville isn't nearly as authentic as it pretends to be. And then there's the most potentially damaging theory of all, that these tapes expose deeply personal details about Carlos that could absolutely destroy his reputation in the industry. But regardless of what's on these recordings, one thing is crystal clear: Melody didn't make them by accident. Which brings us to the biggest question that's keeping everyone up at night. Why did Melody feel the need to record Carlos in the first place? Was she plotting to expose him all along, or was she just trying to protect herself? That's the burning question everyone is desperate to have answered.
There's going to be people who's going to poke you to get a reaction out of you. They're gonna make up lies. They're gonna just say things to get people to join them in their hatred for you. And you just have to pray for them. And as you pray for them, pray for God to fulfill them with something that they're missing. Because you have to be missing something. You have to have a hole in your heart to spend your time going against people who did nothing to you.
Let's be real for a second. Anyone who's been in reality TV knows exactly how the game works. They understand that producers manipulate situations, edit footage selectively, and sometimes even actively encourage cast members to turn against each other for maximum drama. As someone who's been at the very heart of Love and Marriage Huntsville for years, Melody may have realized she was being set up long before anyone else did. Some industry insiders believe Melody saw the writing on the wall early on. She probably noticed how her storylines were suspiciously shifting, how conflicts seemed to magically materialize around her, and how Carlos appeared to be pulling all the strings from behind the curtain. Recording their private conversations might have been her way of creating an insurance policy. Concrete proof that she wasn't actually the villain the show was increasingly trying to portray her as. Others think Melody was playing a much more calculated long game. Instead of reacting impulsively, she might have patiently waited for the perfect, most explosive moment to release these tapes, when the drama was at its absolute peak and the impact would be utterly devastating to Carlos. If that's truly the case, this wasn't just about protecting herself, it was about making absolutely certain that Carlos would face the full consequences of whatever he had done. And here's the part that has everyone absolutely terrified. Could there be more tapes? If Melody was secretly recording Carlos, who else might she have recorded? What other bombshells might she be holding on to? If these allegations turn out to be true, this wouldn't be the first time Carlos King has been accused of playing dirty in the reality TV world. Carlos has built his entire career on creating irresistible reality TV drama. He knows exactly how to craft storylines that keep audiences completely addicted, and he's worked on some of the biggest reality shows in the entire industry. But the question everyone's asking is, at what cost? One of the biggest controversies surrounding Carlos involves Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kandi Burruss. She publicly accused him of stealing her family's life story for a biopic without ever getting her permission. That led to a massive falling out between Kandi and Carlos, with Kandi making it abundantly clear that she no longer trusted him whatsoever. And Kandi is far from the only one. Over the years, numerous reality stars have strongly hinted that producers, especially Carlos, have manipulated them, misled them, or even deliberately set them up for drama that wasn't remotely authentic. So if Melody's recordings truly do expose Carlos for manipulating Love and Marriage Huntsville, would it really be that shocking? Or would it simply confirm what people have been saying about him all along? And here's where things get even more scandalous, because some people believe these tapes don't just expose Carlos professionally, but personally. There are whispers circulating that Melody's recordings might contain more than just behind-the-scenes production drama. Some sources claim the tapes include absolutely explosive details about Carlos's personal life, details that he would do anything to keep hidden from the public.
I'm gonna keep it all the way real on this podcast today because I am pissed. Robin admitting that she hid her story from the world on the show that pays you is a slap in the face to everyone involved, including the audience. And the fact that you have the audacity to go on your podcast to reveal this. We spent this entire half-assed season with these made-up storylines about Chris Bassett. And yes, I'm gonna say made up because I allegedly was told that a few of the housewives had a meeting before filming about what the storyline was going to be, and that this Chris Bassett stuff was part of that conversation. I've always said there was something off about this season, and now I know what it is. None of y'all are living your real life.
We have to remember that Carlos isn't just another executive producer. He is the face of Love and Marriage Huntsville. His fingerprints are all over the show's massive success, and countless fans tune in specifically because of the high-stakes drama he consistently delivers. But if these recordings turn public opinion against him, could his entire empire come crashing down? One major issue is that cast members may now be forced into an impossible position of having to pick sides. Will they stand firmly by Carlos, defending him and dismissing Melody's claims as bitter exaggeration, or will they back Melody, especially if the recordings reveal Carlos was manipulating their storylines for ratings without their knowledge? Some stars might try to remain neutral, not wanting to jeopardize their positions on the show, but others might see this as the perfect opportunity to finally speak their truth about their own experiences, especially if they've also felt exploited for ratings all along. Then there's the network to consider. If the backlash becomes too intense, OWN might have no choice but to intervene. Could they actually remove Carlos as executive producer in a desperate attempt to save the show? Or would the controversy be simply too massive to recover from? And what about Melody herself? If she was willing to go this far to expose Carlos, would she even want to remain on a show with any connection to him? Or will she walk away completely, taking her enormous fan base and possibly the show's biggest audience draw with her? If Love and Marriage Huntsville actually collapses under the weight of this scandal, it won't just be a devastating loss for Carlos. It could trigger a major shift in the entire reality TV landscape as we know it.
Out him as long as he continued to change nothing about himself. So Aikisha from Bell Collective and her husband stood on business last night. I heard that it has since been deleted, but Aikisha's like, look, and I am tickled that she pumped him up with all the good accolades, and then she turned around and was like, but unfortunately I'm out. Baby, the face is priceless. He like, his head can't even come back the other way. He's just staring at the screen, and I'm gonna let you guys hear it for yourself, but baby, it's about time, and this should be an example for those who are afraid to walk away because, oh, you're on TV, or who are afraid to walk away because you feel like you failed if you choose yourself. Listen, you have to choose yourself, because if you don't, nobody else would. But listen, y'all meet me in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Check in. Bye.
Pick up letter.
I know that's right.
We're excited about that, and we want to congratulate Carlos, and we want to congratulate the show, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of the platform. But unfortunately, we will not be returned. So just wanted to say that. The clones are done. I want Carlos to find out any other way.
The implications here are massive. If these recordings seriously damage Carlos's credibility, networks might start cutting ties with him left and right. Reality TV thrives on drama, but it also depends on a foundation of trust between producers, networks, and talent. If Carlos is exposed as someone who secretly manipulates stars behind the scenes, what's stopping other networks from dropping his projects to avoid being tainted by the controversy? This could ignite an even larger conversation conversation about reality TV ethics that the industry has been desperately trying to avoid for years. But if these tapes provide concrete proof of behind-the-scenes manipulation, networks might finally be forced to change how they operate entirely. The biggest nightmare scenario for Carlos, though, if one star has receipts, how many others might also be sitting on explosive evidence? Could this scandal encourage more reality TV stars to come forward with their own horror stories? If that happens, Carlos won't just have to worry about Love and Marriage Huntsville, his entire career could be hanging by a thread. For years, reality TV has faced accusations of twisting the truth to create better stories. But what happens when there's actual, undeniable proof? More and more reality stars have been speaking out about their treatment by producers. Some claim they were misled, manipulated, or pressured into creating drama they never signed up for. Others say deceptive editing completely transformed how they appeared on screen, turning them into villains overnight. Right now, all eyes are fixated on Melody. Some believe she's playing an incredibly calculated long game, waiting for the absolute perfect moment to release even more damaging receipts. One fan commented, "I knew Carlos was shady. The way he moves behind the scenes has always seemed suspect. If these tapes are real, his time is UP." Another added, "This explains why so many reality stars don't trust producers. They're setting people up for drama and then acting completely innocent like they had nothing to do with it." Then there's Carlos himself. How will he respond to this explosive situation? So far, he's remained completely silent, but when he does finally speak, will he deny everything, try to discredit Melody, or will he go into full damage control mode, desperately attempting to spin the situation in his favor? And what about the potential legal consequences? If these tapes expose questionable business practices, could Carlos face lawsuits? Might the network step in to protect itself from the inevitable backlash? And depending on what's actually revealed, could some cast members or even the production team take legal action themselves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Your thoughts in the comments.